health, gotta look out for self. For real, it's so important, and you know we're here to help. Mental health and wellness, I can't stress it enough. Here to lift you up, hosted by Tyreese, McAllister. Yeah, join the podcast, bringing good energy once a month. Yeah, every Thursday, therapy, talking self-care and radical resilience. Put yourself first, cause it's all about healing. Let's go. Yeah, said this is what you need. Mental health and wellness with Thursday therapy. Yeah, never too late to start with mental health advocate Marcy Trueheart. I know that life can be stressful, don't let it break you. We got the tools to help and to liberate you. You feeling stressed out, I know you've been searching for a little guidance. We provide it because you deserve it. Yeah, said this is what you need. Mental health and wellness with Thursday therapy. Tyreese, McAllister, and Marcy Trueheart.
Hey, Marcy.
Woo, Tyreese McAllister. It is always so good to be on this virtual couch with you and our guest. And today's guest, man, we'll talk more about him. But remember, let's remember, even though we're ending this month, it's National Gun Violence Survivor Week. We just finished that off, and also
and I just want to say I survived Survivors Week. Listen, I had a baby. I know today that mental health and wellness is such a calling and a ministry on my life. And the fact that, taking care of your own mental health, we just got to do it. It has been a hellacious week for me, several people that I know, and, just to know that you can take care of your mental health, and people who don't take care of it, I just don't understand. But we got to definitely talk about prevention.
Yeah, definitely, because of the simple fact, people who say, "Oh, I don't need no therapist. I don't need no help." Those are the people who lie to themselves the most, who are in such a delusional state of false reality. We all need help at some point or another. Now, if you choose not to go to therapy, you still need to have an outlet, because what that stress and anxiety comes in so many different ways. Some people might eat it out. Some people might not eat at all. Some people smoke. Some people sleep. It's just so many different things that you do. But what we need to realize is we need to have mental wellness, and we need to make that more of a priority for our lives. Wellness, because everybody's talk about mental health,
mental illness.
But we want to show you what mental wellness really looks like, and it looks like us.
What? I want to say something. I think you said something really important when you said a lot of people feel like they don't need any help. And actually, if you wake up and you on a day that you don't need any help, that's a day to be grateful for, because that means maybe you are able to handle what's going on with you. But what we're talking about is not so much always getting help, but being really conscious, being aware, and being proactive and taking care of your wellness, so that if you are well, you can stay well, right? Just like people may have good health, right? There's no problems, there's no disease, no disorders, no diabetes, no hypertension, no arthritis, right? But baby, one day you're going to wake up and you might have those things. But if you do the things ahead of time that you need to do, then, you don't necessarily have to worry about becoming ill. And so I think I hear people when they say they don't need any help, they good, right? And that's why we do this show too, because not everybody needs to go to a therapist. I mean, I think it's a good idea for people to have a therapist. But if that's not what you want to do, no big deal. We talk on our show about alternative ways to take care of your health, whether that's a THC gummy, right? Or if you do yoga, or if you're hiking in nature and communing with God, however you find however you find it to do what you need to do for your wellness, we all for it, right?
Oh,
Long as it
definitely.
doesn't infringe on other people. Do what you do. Be as creative as you want to be. But do something.
Do
Right, like
something.
that's what we're saying. Do something. Don't think you don't need to do anything, because we all need to do something to stay well. Even people exercise, right? Why do you exercise? So you can stay well. You eat healthy. Why? So that you can stay well. So prayer, meditation, going to a therapist can also help you stay well. Because,
Yes.
baby, like the old ladies used to say in church, the mothers, I thank God for being in my right mind. And while I thought that was funny as a young person, like, what's a right mind? Is it a left mind? But, baby, when your mental health done left you, hey, it ain't nothing cute. So we
Let
got to
me,
take care of the
ooh,
mental.
girl. When because I am a witness of my mind just being so in a place. I was so hurt in so many different ways, and my mind, it left me.
Yeah.
It left
Yeah.
me, and I'm here being so transparent. It left me, and I understand those words. I thank God for being in my right mind, because there was a time when I was not.
Yeah. And we're
So
grateful for that.
so
We're
grateful.
grateful for the recovery, right? And that's another important point, Marcy. You always got the good points. That even if there's time you're not doing well, because there are things that might happen when you have a moment of not doing well. The beautiful thing is that, mental health issues are treatable. We can work through some stuff and you could come out on the other side of this. And so what you're seeing today is me on the other side of my trauma, Marcy on the other side of her trauma. So we're not just here pushing something we ain't bought ourselves. Like, we ain't trying to sell you something we ain't taking, right? We're not trying to get you to sip the Kool-Aid. We trying to let you know from our lived experiences that
There's
we
a
both had our
healing.
issues, right? We've had our things that happen.
Yes.
And we want to encourage people to be able to take care of their mental health and wellness as well.
Because mental health and wellness takes work, takes time, it takes patience, and it takes perseverance.
It
You just
does.
not
It does.
gonna, and we all are going to go through something, regardless. But on that other side of that healing, because whatever you go through, it's going to hurt you, it's going to break you, it's going to break you down. But as you rebuild and reconnect and restore yourself, that's still work. You still got to do the work. So we're proud of you for doing the work. And our guest today, you were talking about exercise. He's an exercise guru. So we're going to talk to him also about some of his exercise movements. But he has so many other things. He's just so, oh man, he's so intriguing. That's a great word for him, intriguing. And I know he always comes with a conversation that is just thought provoking. So I'm excited to get him on and have him talk about it, because I know we're about to touch on several subjects today. But also I want to just give a shout out to you and Dr. McAllister, because this weekend you were talking about just being busy, but this weekend you stood with Congressman Glenn Ivey with the
Yeah.
gun violence survivor week, and you spoke at several events, and you did a press conference with the Congressman Ivey, and you were on a panel with some amazing people, and your voice was heard. And I just want to thank you for letting your voice be heard, but also as we heal, because this is a healing process daily. You're healing other people you may never meet, people who will come to you and say thank you. I want to say thank you to you. And I want to say thank you to the people who may not ever meet you in person, but I know that they want to give their gratitude to you. And I can just say this on a personal note. I love the fact that your humbleness. You are such a humble and loving person, and it's rare to find someone like you. So yeah, I got a little mushy there. I apologize, but I love you to life, and I just want to make that public.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. And you know what? This is the thing that, very much like Christ, I want to be a servant, right? Like everything that I've gone through, including my own challenges, losing my daughter, was not necessarily for me. And that I believe that God has called me to be a servant, and it feels good to serve and to assist other people. A lot of times what we go through is not even for us, but it's for other people. So I appreciate your appreciation. I was very honored that, Congressman Ivy selected me to work with him this week to get the message out. He definitely elevated me as a survivor, but elevated survivors in general, because first of all, it's not easy to do this work. It is hard work, not hard work. But to God be the glory. And I just pray that I am able to, stay his servant. I believe I'll be humble, because like there's nothing, I don't have anything amazing that I'm doing that nobody else couldn't do. I mean, this I do this work at a great cost of losing my daughter. So I believe I'll stay humble. But between me and you know how I do.
Oh, I definitely do. And it's my pleasure. And I would like to also shout out Moms Demand Action and Hope in Action.
Yes.
They are two groups that we are connected with closely, and I just want to give a shout out to them because they are so deep in the community. And like you said, this is hard. It's not hard work, but it's definitely hard work. And all the other, because there are many other programs I can just rattle off, like Gun Down Fridays, the Trigger Project, that we are associated with, and they do amazing work. And not to leave anybody out, this is just off the top of my head, but just to give a shout out to everybody who's working
on gun violence.
Yeah, working on gun violence, because unfortunately, this is something that it happens too often. But this week with Gun Violence Survivor Week, it's the residual of it's the days, all the days after our loved ones have been killed, or they have the gunshot wounds, the residual. So yeah.
All right. So let us bring up Mr. Miles.
Yes.
He represents a couple of different agencies, including his own work. So we're going to let him introduce himself. Welcome to the stage, or to the virtual couch, Mr. Ricardo Miles. There he is. Hello, sir.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
Well, say hey to the people, our listening audience.
Good evening to the audience as well.
Yes. So can you just give the audience a brief introduction of who you are? And then we'll go ahead with our questions.
No problem. My name is Ricardo Miles. I am the program manager for Hope in Action. That is the Violence Intervention Prevention Program in PG County. I'm also the program manager over Washington Highline Family Success Center. We provide resources to society, such as housing, clothing, food, whatever resources that will help an individual move from the hardship that they're experiencing at that time. And I also run my own business called Driven Concepts and Solutions, where we provide violence prevention, intervention, social emotional learning, anger management, stress management, rational self-counseling, which entails rational emotive behavioral therapy and then cognitive behavioral theory. Restorative justice, situational awareness, the whole wellness package. I'm a personal trainer as well, and I'm a martial artist. And then I just like to be involved in the community with things.
Woo, woo. So today we invited you to the virtual couch so we could talk about men's health. And when we look at health, we're looking like just health and wellness, not just physical health, but also their mental health, right? Like you are well astute to talk about those issues. And so thank you so much for joining us on Thursday Therapy, sitting on the virtual couch with Tyreese and Marcy, co-elevators, the dynamic duo. Girls going wild on the weekend. You know, we all those things.
All of those things and more.
But can you share with us your personal journey and what motivated you to focus on mental and physical health, specifically for Black men?
Absolutely. I can remember when I was 14 years old, and at that point of not understanding how to identify my emotional state. I'm feeling these emotions, but unable to put a label on it, unable to realize that moment that what I'm experiencing is normal, but didn't have an internal navigator to get me to that place of emotional regulation, emotional intelligence. And I put my hands on this guy, and I ended up catching a charge at 14 years old. And I'm out California, I'm in juvenile hall, and I'm just sitting there confused because I've been bottled up with resentment toward my mother, resentment toward my father, resentment toward my stepfather. And all of those emotions are wrapped up together. And then it just boiled over. And that displaced anger ended up finding itself on that individual. Because at that time, I didn't know what it was to be emotionally wrecked and having no true sense of self-regulation. That piece is very important. So my journey started early on as a teenager and not being able to control my anger, not understanding what anger is, not understanding that anger is just a response to another emotion, secondary, and put myself in situations that weren't beneficial. Continuing on in that path, was sentenced to 18 years at 18, did 11 years in prison. And on that journey there, I started to understand me. I started to go into an intrapersonal journey because it's easy to blame other people for why relationships don't work. But what is the road that I was playing in that? And it started to help me understand that it all goes back to my thinking, how I was perceiving the situation, my warped perception, the things that I didn't really understand. Being able to start grasping rational self-counseling, which is knowing that the thoughts are connected to the feelings and the feelings push them actions. So then it helped me start to see, you know what? In this line of work moving forward, I can't concentrate on the behavior of the people because the behavior is just a symptom or response to the internal issue, the underlying issue. So with myself, those underlying issues, I didn't have the information to help myself with. So people nowadays don't have the information as well. So on the journey, you start to see that if I can challenge my thinking, not be concerned about my conditions, I can make better choices. And those are called the 3 C's. Conditions, cognitions, and choices. Because a lot of times we blame our environment, our condition for what we do. But in reality, it's just an excuse because people come from the worst environment having the best outcome. So we can't allow that excuse to affect the things that we do. Yes, it plays a part because you have to think about it. You have the individual, you have the household, you have the neighborhood, and then you have the community, then the society. So how often do we not start with self? So how can we help the household when each individual in the house has started their own interpretation? So you want to say something?
Mr. Miles, you breaking up a little bit, but you said a mouthful. And I think that what you said is really important because a lot of our children are in trouble, right? Like we see in such a high incidence of carjacking, violence among kids. So if it ain't the guns, then it's knives. We see these flash mobs and a lot of violence in the high school, also in the college, on college campuses. And I think that parents don't necessarily understand that these are some of the things that are happening, right? Like people just, and even other people want to say, well, these are just bad children, or the parents are not there, but maybe the parent is there, but don't understand their influence on the child's conditions, right? And so can you talk a little bit about that?
It chopped up at the end. I think I got the gist of what you were saying.
Okay. Can you just talk a little bit about like how parents or other people outside of the home, pass so much judgment on these young people and thinking these are just bad kids, these are children acting out, when we don't consider all of the other things that are making children act out or making parents don't have control of this stuff, because they too don't understand their conditions and their own cognition. So you can't give what you don't have. So you have 3, 4, 5 generations of people who don't know how to think correctly, right? Or work with their cognition. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I just started a new contract where I'm working with the community, and this is so I love how I'm going to segue this. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I do a physical workout for the entire community. It's free to the communities. Everybody can come out 5 to 6. Then from 6 to 7, I concentrate on the intellectual property building. So in that class, I have everybody, and I wanted to change the trajectory with separating the demographics. So I invite everyone out, the kids, the adults, the senior citizens, to learn collectively. So the first week, we were talking about the different dimensions of wellness. Psychological wellness, emotional wellness, intellectual wellness, spiritual wellness, community environmental wellness, creative wellness, and all of the other dimensions that go with that. So in order to give somebody something, like you said, you have to have it. We mentioned that in CBT, to give energy, you have to give energy. So a lot of times the process of challenging one's thinking has to be taught to you, because we having thoughts all day. It's just like when you look at the TV and you never stop your hand from surfing on the net, the channel is going to keep going until you stop. That's just like our thoughts. We have to conceptualize it and make it an idea. And when we do that, we're able to actually see what it is that we're concentrating on. A lot of times that's not happening. We just having thoughts running, and we just random thoughts, and we're running from one thought to another and never really making an idea to really slow down and see, who am I as a person? Because that wellness piece and those dimensions, like you said, I could be good physically, but emotionally I'm a wreck. Emotionally, but then psychologically I'm a wreck. So it's being able to harness those different dimensions together so that you can truly be well. Because wellness is what? Optimal health and vitality for life. So just because you have one of those dimensions and under wraps doesn't mean that the other ones don't need attention as well. Because I don't like strengths and weaknesses. I say strengths and areas of growth, areas where we can improve in.
Yeah.
Because everything about you that is not strong can be made strong. It can be made strong. It can be cultivated. It can be harnessed to an ability. But
and you know why I love
the
what
biggest
you
piece
just
for me
said?
is when I realized that.
I think we got a little bit of a disconnect somewhere. Are you back, Mr.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead. You finish your thought, and then I want to say something.
Okay, so what I realized is that.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so on that note, our condition plays a major role on how we see things. And if you haven't seen anything other than your environment, then it's what you believe that's all there. So for a person to challenge your thinking, it's something new. It's uncomfortable. It's putting them in a place where they haven't been before. And for parents, how can they instill these principles in their children when they didn't get them? I didn't get it. I didn't get the social emotional. And I heard somebody, but in turn, a lot of these parents don't have the skills that even assist their kids in the household, because they need training as well. That's why I concentrated my program on the whole household, all of the demographics, and teach everyone at one time. And that's where we lost that. We don't have a collective thought process where we learn together. We're separating everybody. That's why it's the generational gap. And I want to change that. I want to be able to create that multi-generational focus where we learn with one understanding. Then you won't have to worry about people not holding on to the principles, giving in, snitching, because we hold people accountable. Snitching brings no benefit to people. We want to be straight up with individuals. That's one of the problems with society. It is all in how we perceive these things. Because think about it.
Yes.
Snitching is what? To harm somebody? It's secretive, it's behind closed doors. No, we have to walk up on that person, look them in their eye, and hold them accountable. and be restorative
Yes.
in our process and not punitive.
Oh, I love it. So you said a couple of things. One, you said you base it from the wellness model, and I think as we talk about Black men or Black people in general, the wellness model works. Like there are areas that need to be strengthened or things that can be worked on versus you broken, right? Because I think that's why we reject mental illness, right? Because nobody wants to be broken. Nobody wants to have something wrong with them, right? So it's easier for me to pretend that there's nothing versus address like there's some areas that I need to strengthen. So I love that. Thank you for saying that. And then the other thing you just said was restorative, right? Like how do we start restoring people? And one of the things that Congressman Ivey has said too is that, you know, while we want to, and everything you said is really on point with what he was saying with Survivors Week, like we want to hold people accountable. Like if you have a gun, like we can't just say we're going to take your gun away and shame on you, don't do that. You got to have some consequences, right? We got to hold you accountable. And it got to sting because that's the only way you're going to learn some consequences. But it doesn't always have to end up in incarceration. But what kind of restorative work can we do for our people? And we saw that with the mass incarceration when we got to get tough on drugs. It hurt our people. It sent a lot of men away. It sent a lot of fathers away from their children. And while there should be some consequences and accountability, none of it was restorative, right? Or rehabilitative, right? Like I love that you went into prison, did some time, and came out a better person. But you, sir, are a unicorn because a lot of people don't do that. They don't come out better, right? Like come out sometimes worse. And that's unfortunate because they don't rehabilitate themselves. We know that the system is not rehabilitative. So thank you for all that you do for our community. Marcy, you have a question?
I
Much
don't have a
appreciated.
question, but I would like, first of all, what I love about your program, it is a catch-all. You're like you said, you're closing generational gaps with your program. But but give us the address to your program and the times. Again, I know you said Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but give us the address and break
Correct.
down what you do with that program.
Sure. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the first hour, the 5 o'clock hour, and I actually start at 5:15, and I stop
5
at
p.m.
5:45. I concentrate on that
PM?
30-minute window.
PM.
Is it
PM.
PM?
5 o'clock in the evening.
Yes, PM, definitely PM.
Okay.
Well, nobody be there but me if it's AM. I'm telling you. So once we get that 30-minute session is concentrating on the physiological part. So we do a full body stretch, and then that one day we may do cardiorespiratory training. The next day we may do martial arts. The next day we may do strength. Then I might combine them together, just depending on who shows up. Because these are things that you got to be able to do when reading the room. Identify, okay, I have old kids, they got energy, I'm gonna run them. But I got some elders in here today, so we're gonna mix it up and make it easier on them, but not that the kids will become boring. So you have to be able to integrate in the moment. You gotta be able to do what they call use fluid intelligence. Then we move on to the next hour, which is from 6:15 to 6:45. Again, another half an hour. And I like to do these half an hour intervals 3 times a week because we know the attention span of most people is short. So I said, hey, we're going to do these short bursts of information sessions along with the physiological training piece. So what we do, we concentrate on the intellectual property building because so many people concentrate on their physical property, their money, their houses, the cars, everything that they have in their bank account, etc. But who really takes time to build the value of the intellectual property? Who appraises that? Because when they take everything physically away from you, that's tangible.
You better tell the people. I love it because you're right.
When we start to put that focus on it, I know. Listen, I know you're serious. It's just that I realized that focus has been lost. So my job now, stepping in with the community to raise that level of intellectual property, so they can really have that wealth. Because, wealth is of so many types, and very few people build their intellectual wealth, build their intellectual property, and help their children to build it. It's like, that's why children just don't want to be number rappers or want to be, just part of entertainment. But what about the individual who saved the community? What about the person who revives the principles that help us as a nation to break this systemic and structural perpetual cycle of miseducation and incarcerating our people through this critical criminology that's been put in place so that we'll always be behind? It be broken until we break it here. Most people that we deal with in these societies are still in pre-contemplation. That's really the issue. I was in pre-contemplation. When you don't see what the problem is and you're in the middle of it, it's hard because you're in denial. You don't even know it's a lie. So we have to be able to get these people to see where they are. They don't see the harm. Even if they put in the trigger, they still don't see the harm, the ripple effect that really causes to that family, to their own family. They're just having a response to that emotion at that moment because it's the trigger response, it's the trauma response. They talking about women are more emotional than men. Look, all these guys they pulling these triggers. It's really emotional men. So that's a myth. Because if you pulling that trigger, it's a feeling behind it. You're fulfilling that desire.
Absolutely. All right.
So, Mr. Mouse, tell us where this is located.
Oh, correct. So it's 3826 9th Street. Again, 3826 9th Street Southeast.
So, okay. All right.
And we're going to run this program again. It's 3 days. Yeah. It's inside the building. Sometimes we go out back, depending on how the weather feels.
Well, is it
it looks like a house. It looks like a house. It's two buildings. It's two homes connected to each other.
Okay.
But it's not a building. It looks like a house. So you walk up to the door. Yep, it's the front door. But you'll see the sign. But you can see the sign there's a sign in the yard that says Washington Highland Family Success Center. So you'll know you're there for sure. Can't miss it.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
And because you do everything. You do absolutely everything. Now we've talked about the physical, we talked about the emotional intelligent, we talked about the mental health. What about the holistic health approach?
Absolutely. Yes. My apology, Marcy. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. No, how do you bring in the holistic approach to this program, and how when you're going out and you're talking to the people?
Were you able to hear her?
Yes, I just didn't know if it was going to break up again. I heard her.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
So what we do, going back to going back to the dimensions of wellness, one of the dimensions is spiritual wellness. And with that spirituality piece, religion is one thing, but spirituality is another. And being able to help people realize that there's a creator. There's someone beyond the ability that humans have, that have brought things into place. The sun and the moon don't set and rise on their own. The proximity of the sun from the earth isn't just by chance, because if it's too far, we'll freeze. If it's too close, we'll burn up. So we know that there's a greater play inside, a higher power, a grand design, or whatever you want to use terminology in reference to acknowledging who you serve. But just in the spiritual sense, man has to become one with nature, become one with his environment. I want to share something with you. There are 3 stages of enlightenment, and this is very spiritual. It says that man and soul become one, that anything he holds in his hand can be a weapon, even a blade of grass. So that don't mean this weapon is to harm, but this weapon can be used to bring forth benefit. That same weapon can be interchanged into a tool or instrument. It just depends on what you use your hand for, how you tend to manipulate the situation and change the environment. And then he moves on to the second phase, where the weapon no longer exists in his hand and it only exists in the heart now. So now he can strike the enemy within 100 paces. So now you're able to delegate the work. You're not even involved. You can move people from one place of feeling like they're dead in a dark state to where they feel that light is in their heart. And then you reach that final stage where the soul disappears completely and the desire to kill is removed. Only thing left is to heal. And that is the whole point of spirituality, healing. helping an individual heal their heart, heal their connection with the creator, heal their connection with the environment, heal their connection with the animals and everything. That's why that wellness package covers it all. Community, environmental wellness, spiritual wellness, and all the other dimensions. Because a person truly is not well until you're working in harmony with these different dimensions. That's how you become, as they say, complete. So that spirituality, that holistic approach is being able to realize that it's bigger than me. And if I really want good for my people, I have to reach a point of selflessness so that everybody benefits. As Maslow says in his hierarchy, he mentioned this.
No, you preaching now. Go ahead.
Oh.
I'm just
so as Maslow says, and as Maslow says in his hierarchy, people stop at the 5, but there's a 6th need that he mentioned. That after you become self-actualized and your deeds benefit you, you reach a stage called transcendence. And transcendence is when your deeds affect other people. You become selfless. So that's how I see spirituality. You can become selfless. That your deeds no longer benefit you; they benefit other people. Bringing that whole restorative piece right back. Because the biggest piece is this: being able to get an environment and get the people to see that the 5 R's of restorative justice really work. The first R is what? Relationships, respect, responsibility, repair, and reintegration. If we can put those 5 in place, can really put those 5 in action, then people find their own. Individuals will find spirituality. Individuals will leave pre-contemplation, become cognizant, and start to contemplate about their actions and the consequences and things that's going to happen. But the only way that's going to happen if we align the people with the proper information. We have to break this perpetual cycle of miseducation. That's the piece.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I know that our audience is ready for you, right? Like they are, like this is good stuff. And even if they not, it's been good for me. So listen, can you share?
Hold on. I want to go back just a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Because of course you could talk all day and we're gonna listen all day. But what I in my spiritual journey, I'm learning to be one with nature, and how we was not taught to be one with nature. Like now I understand that the trees talk to us, and we have to talk back to the trees. I understand walking in the grass and getting that energy, that energy, just being barefoot and with the ground. And it has taken me to, like you said, there's another level that I see things at now. Now that I start doing it, there's a tree when I leave out and I've named the tree and we talk. I give offerings to the tree. And that's where we need to get back to, doing things that our ancestors did, because it worked for them. It worked for them. And just when you bringing that up, it just like, and I feel this is something I need to say more often, because of the simple fact we're often ashamed of doing these things because we've been it's been deemed to be witchcraft or something like that. So just thought I had to say that.
Well, thank you so much, Marcy. So the things that you said would be very helpful, but it's not how our schools operate. It's not how the home life operates. Definitely not how prison operates. It's not how our healthcare system operates. Like they don't consider all of the dimensions that people bring to the table, right? So with that, what advice would you offer to Black men for effectively navigating a healthcare system or a school system so that people can take care of themselves?
It broke up, but I think you're asking me what would I do to help change the trajectory of the students in the school system, right?
What advice would you give students, or what advice would you give students and and men or people in navigating the school system, the healthcare systems, and all of the systems that we are part of, but don't necessarily speak to all the dimensions that we bring.
So I think I got it.
Okay.
Because it broke up real bad.
Okay.
So you're asking about the advice I would give to schools, healthcare systems, different systems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The people who are dealing with the systems.
Gotcha. Okay, got you. Okay. Number one, I think that people don't understand how much power we really have. Each individual has a particular skill set, a talent, and our hobbies when we were kids were designed to help us develop our skill sets so that they become monetary and we can make them lucrative in our adulthood. Really. But a lot of us didn't tap into, and our parents sometimes didn't see a child's potential. Look at Tiger Woods. Look at the Williams sisters. Somebody saw their potential and they invested in that and they cultivated it so that this child can grow up to be a productive adult and not just what they see in the environment, see beyond what's in their confines, to be able to really look outside of the prison that we construct with our own mind. That's the biggest piece.
You better talk about
We look at our conditions. We look at our conditions. We look at our household. We look at the things that we don't have. And we start to confine ourselves psychologically. Put ourselves in a box. Put ourselves in bondage. So it's hard to step outside of that when you feel like you're in prison all the time. You don't got to go to prison physically to be in jail, to be incarcerated, because it starts here. We have to teach the people to free their minds first. And the way that you free your mind, you have to learn to forgive yourself.
Ooh.
Yeah, they ain't expect that one right there. They ain't see that one coming, Ms. McAllister. Yeah, you have to learn to forgive yourself. What do I mean by that? Yeah, forgiving yourself starts with most of us have experienced some form of injustice, some type of trauma, some type of childhood. You can talk about the ACEs. We can look at all these things because they're relevant. And what we don't do is deal with them at an appropriate time, meaning how to compartmentalize. We went through these traumas, we went through these injustices, and we didn't deal with them eventually, so they started to deal with us.
Ooh.
And when you don't deal with your issues, they deal with you. That's why it's always something popping up.
No, I said you.
That's why it's always something. That's why it's always something in the childhood resurfacing, because we didn't deal with the issue that was there first. And it just festered. Then that trauma became chronic, or it became complex when it was once just acute. Now you're talking about a person dealing with all of these different levels of trauma, variations of it, and then you're encouraging them to try to deal with the systems that have been put in place. It's not going to work. So first you have to heal yourself. And the only way you do that is to truly forgive the injustice that was done to you. You have to search your soul, open your heart, and let it go. But letting it go means addressing it, because we cope with things. We have to start to address our issues. Stop coping with the issue and address it. Uproot it, get it out of you so that you can become that beautiful person that you are. We only stand in our own way. The greatest enemy is the inner me. And people are afraid to forgive themselves because it hurts. That trauma hurts when you think about it.
Yeah.
You as the therapist know, when you start therapy, what people don't know, when you start therapy, you're opening an old wound. You're taking that Band-Aid off that bullet wound and you're dealing with it. So it's going to hurt initially, but it's not going to hurt forever.
Right.
Because it hurt when it first happened. So of course it's going to hurt thinking about it, but we can get past it and we can challenge it and own it and not let it continue to have us living in the past. See, we're in the present, but we live in the past, preventing our future. I'm gonna say it again. Woo. We live in the present, but we're in the present, but we live in the past, and it prevents our future because of that trauma that we're not dealing with. So I just encourage everyone to start with
I'm
this.
sorry, Mr. Miles. Brother Miles. I apologize.
Yes, ma'am.
Say that again. We're living in the. Go ahead. Say that again.
Oh, no. We live in the present, but we're trapped in the past, which prevents our future.
That thing. Jesus in the morning. Yes. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, we
so I just encourage everyone. I just encourage.
No, we
it's really that simple. Oh, no question. I'm honored to be on here with you, lovely sisters. You know, we family, we tie all the way and lock all the way into the bottom. Yeah, and they throw the key away. Okay.
So let me ask you this: so if a person just listened to our show and they say, you know what, I'm picking up what Brother Miles is putting down, what would you say would be the next step for them to like, you know, like start to like learn and understand and really make some changes for their own life? Like maybe when you were incarcerated, you started somewhere, right? Like you didn't go in like that, but when you emerged, you were a new person. And I'm sure that you've been continuing your growth, right? But like for a person, they just hear this and they're like, you know what? The brother has got some points. What would be the first couple of things you think they could do for themselves?
First, I would encourage them to study the 4 styles of communication. I start there with the 4 styles because most people don't communicate effectively. So if you don't communicate effectively, how are you going to receive what you need? If you go to the grocery store and or better yet, you go to the butcher and you tell him you need a certain kind of meat and he gives you something else because you didn't clarify. So now your meal won't be delicious. It'll be edible. Assertive communication, passive aggressive, and aggressive. These are the 4 styles. Most people do not communicate assertively, so their needs are not met. They don't get their point across, or it's not done by because assertive communication means to get your point across without violating the rights of others, and that doesn't happen.
And so that people can hear you. And so that people can hear you, right? Because I mean, and you're right, because what I see a lot of time is people are communicating too aggressively, so they get shut down, right? Like people like, whoa, you scary, or you passive.
Exactly.
So people like they're not paying you no attention. They disrespect. I mean, they moving you on. And so I love that. Like that is a very good place to begin. Very good. What else?
Hold up, I have a question. Is this something that you teach
and
personally?
The absolutely, it's part of my program. Effective communication skills.
Okay. I think I need to come and take that class.
Okay. Well, go ahead. What's the next one?
I mean, so after you deal with those 4 styles of communication, and that takes time because most people have to be able to identify what style they operate in. And knowing that you may have to switch style depending on exactly.
And why they operate, because when people
it could be that trauma.
Exactly. And people are talking aggressively because
it's a trauma response.
Exactly.
We just say the same thing.
You know,
and it's so true. Even passive aggressive.
Right. Oh my God, this is good stuff. What's next? What comes after that?
So after that, then we talk about the 3 elements of communication: body language, verbal, and nonverbal. Ooh. This way it tells all, because you ain't got to say nothing, but your body language tell everything. Can tell everything.
What day is this class on?
Not speaking is an issue. And sometimes the classes.
Yeah, what day is this on?
This is the 6 o'clock class. We do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's all connected. The information come out. Even though we were talking about the dimensions of wellness, I had to bring these out when I was talking to the kids because one of them got aggressive, one of them was being pat. They were actually operating in them styles. So I had the chance to highlight it. So what happens with me, I don't necessarily lock the class in on a particular topic. I integrate everything that's useful depending on what's happening in the moment. But individuals can
Okay.
get tailored classes and lessons that they want through my programs, no issue at all. It's a simple
But Marcy,
communication and what they need.
and you could do a consultation with him
Say
though,
again?
so you could get some. I was sharing with Marcy that you could do a consultation, like you have a whole business, so these skills you could get one-on-one, or you could get a group of people and get. Oh, I think we lost Mr. Miles, but what I was saying is that you could do a consultation with him one-on-one and work on those skills, because what he's talking is definitely good stuff. Like, and this is the kind of stuff that happens in therapy, and people don't necessarily appreciate it. People think, oh, we just gonna fix you, we're gonna wave a magic wand, but like exactly what he's talking about, like not just the communication style, but why you communicate so harshly and roughly, like what is behind that. So those are really good things, and we just hope we didn't lose Mr. Miles. It looks like he's
Mr.
coming in
Miles
on
need to make
another.
sure he comes on back, because when I tell you he just laid down some good old stuff, and that's just the just
Tip of the iceberg.
smidgen. Yeah, that's just a smidgen of what he can offer, because I know he can. Wow, that I'm gonna have to take that class. And what he does for the community, it speaks volumes to his character. It speaks volumes to what he believes in. And we
back.
was just talking wonderful about you, Mr. Miles.
Mr. Miles, I was just sharing with Marcy that even if she didn't take your class, that be through your business, she can do a one-on-one consultation with you and get and gain the benefits too of what you're teaching, correct? Are you back?
Can you hear us?
You know, that's the only. Can you hear us, Mr. Miles?
No, he can't.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Miles, can you hear us, Mr. Miles? Y'all just listening audience, y'all just bear with us while we go through this little technical difficulty.
But you know what? Let me just say this. It's so crazy when we're trying to put out this truth. You see how things try to interfere with people just receiving such a wonderful word, receiving things that can change their lives for the better. And that when you change your life for the better, this is generational. This is how you can leave generational legacy. Being healed, when you're healed, then you heal what the people who come after you. And this can go on for hundreds of years. So
let's catch up with Mr. Miles before he powers off again. Mr.
Okay.
Miles, can you hear us?
Yes, I think I'm in a better spot right here too.
Okay, so I was just sharing with Marcy because she was inquiring about your class, and I was saying because you have a business that not just Marcy but people can talk to you individually to get these skills, right? So can you tell our listening audience how they can reach you personally if they're interested in either getting a class or taking a class, or really just being able to talk with you one-on-one to grow, right? Because that's what this is about. Tell the people how they can reach out to you.
Absolutely. So you can start with my website, www.d as in dog, C as in cat, S as in Sam, 22.com. The email address is similar. Miles.
Give it again. I'm sorry. Give the email. The website again.
No problem. www.dcs22.com.
Okay. I'm posting it. That's why I wanted to ask. I'm trying to post it.
No problem.
Okay, go ahead. There we go.
Okay. Also, you can just put R Miles at dcs22.com. That's the email address. So you just take the www off, you put the at in front of R behind R Miles, and then that is the actual email address.
.com. So R Miles.
So R Miles at DCS. 22.com.
Got it.
And then you can post my phone on. I'm not concerned about that. I mean, sometimes it's the easy way to reach. 202. Oh, you don't want me to give it? It's okay. Either way.
Oh, no, it's okay.
But,
it's your phone number,
okay.
202.
I will block them.
202.
579. 579. 7284. That's it.
And Mr. Miles, we're going to have to have you back for a second show because we had at least 4 or 5 more questions for you. But we would definitely have you back because of the simple fact you are just so knowledgeable in so many areas. I cannot contain you. So, and then we always when we're in spaces, it's always great to see you, great to be in your energy. And
mental. Sorry. Okay. I was getting prepared. Sorry. Go ahead.
So we definitely will have you back for more information, for more knowledge. This is not just information. This is knowledge. And this is knowledge to take us, like I said, we're changing generations. Yeah. We're legacy leavers. And it starts right here. So I am so appreciative of you. And I know my beautiful co-elevator, we are just ecstatic to have you here with us today. And we definitely will see you back on this virtual couch soon.
Mr. Miles, I'm going to put you in the green room while Marcy gives her Marcy moments, but stand by. Don't hang up.
Woo! We just had a powerful session. This was a good therapy session. And this was Thursday therapy. And Mr. Miles said so many things. But one of the many things is we're powerful people. Understand that you have so much power in you. You can change and you can be the legacy leavers by changing your mind, by changing your inner self, healing your inner self. And when you heal the inner self, the outer is going to heal, and then you can go out into this world and you can heal people. So I implore you to tell yourself, I am a healer. I am powerful. I am a legacy leaver. So just take that. Just take that and run with it. Ooh. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcy. And thank you, listeners, for joining us Thursday Therapy. We are so excited that you join us each and every Thursday. If you are listening on the replay, please give us a hashtag replay so that we know that you stopped by to see us. If you have questions for Mr. Miles, please send questions. He is a thought leader for sure. And we want to have him back so we can ask some questions, but feel free to reach out to him because he is a wealth of knowledge and definitely a man about the community. So thank you again, Mr. Miles. We're going to see you guys next week. Thank you.
Yeah, mental health, gotta look out for self. For real, it's so important, and you know we're here to help. Mental health and wellness, I can't stress it enough. Here to lift you up, hosted by Tyreese McAllister. Yeah, join the podcast, bringing good energy once a month. Yeah, every Thursday, therapy, talking self-care and radical resilience. Put yourself first, cause it's all about healing. Let's go. Yeah, said this is what you need. Mental health and wellness with Thursday therapy. Never too late to start with mental health advocate Marcy Trueheart. I know that life can be stressful, don't let it break you. We got the tools to help and to liberate you. You feeling stressed out, I know you've been searching for a little guidance. We provide it because you deserve it. said this is what you need. Mental health and wellness with Thursday Therapy. Tyreese, McAllister, and Marcy Trueheart.